ishara kwamba unanipenda zaidi. Hivyo nishaelewa, sifa nitakupa zaidi, na siwezi jizuia kusema wako wema. Sio kama najigamba, umenitenda wema, na siwezi jizuia kusema wako wema. Sio kama najigamba, umenitenda wema, umekuwa mwema kwangu. Umenitoa gizani nilipokuwa nimeshikwa mateka, ukanipa tumaini. Kwako nikajificha, sasa nitakupa nini? Iwe sawa na yale umetenda, hakuna ila moyoni. Sifa nitakuimbia ili kugharimu, msalabani unifie. Hivyo inanibidi sifa nikuimbie, wema wako niseme, ili na wengine wakujue. Wote waungane nami na wazee 24, na siwezi jizuia kusema wako wema. Sio kama najigamba, umenitenda mema, na siwezi jizuia kusema wako wema. Sio kama najigamba, umenitenda mema, umekuwa mwema kwangu. Wacha niringe, umekuwa mwema kwangu. yetu sisi Melo, tulipofika Maralali tulifurahi kuwapata rafiki wema na wenye nia njema. Rafiki yo yo yo, kwa heri uende ufike salama, safari yako kwenda Samburu kuona ndugu jamaa na rafiki yo. Utapofika Maralali nisalimie Dr. Maina, mwezi Disemba nataraji niombe livu nifike niwaone. Safari yetu sisi Melo, tulipofika Maralali tulifurahi kuwapata rafiki wema na wenye nia njema. yetu sisi Melo, tulipofika Maralali tulifurahi kuwapata rafiki wema na wenye nia njema. Kwanza nasema Dr. Maina asante, tena asante ndugu wa Molo. Sisi Melo twatoa shukrani kwenu, kutuonyesha imani na mapenzi. Itakuwa furaha kuonana tena, hata kama kwa mwaka mara moja. Twatoa shukrani kwenu, kutuonyesha imani na mapenzi. Itakuwa furaha kuonana tena, hata kama kwa mwaka mara moja. Wenyeji wote Maralali, ilikuwa ni mwanzo wala sio mwisho. Kwaherini, mbaki salama. Itakuwa furaha kuonana tena, hata kama kwa mwaka mara moja. Asanti sana Bi Josephina, wenyeji wote Maralali, ilikuwa ni mwanzo wala sio mwisho. Kwaherini, mbaki salama. Itakuwa furaha kuonana tena, hata kama kwa mwaka mara moja.
Asante sana Melo Band kwa wimbo wenu mzuri. Itakuwa furaha kuonana tena, lakini hamwendi, mpo hapo hapo, sio? Ila kwa sasa Wazalendo Choir waweze kuendelea na burudani. Thank you very much Melo Band. Wow. Wazalendo Choir.
Moyo kulisya wabaguta bamenya niyo moyo kulisya wabaguta bamenya niyo moyo kulisya wabaguta bamenya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya lirobali fwesanga 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 niyo moyo kulisya warobai bamenya niyo moyo kulisya warobai bamenya niyo moyo kulisya warobai bamenya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya lutalini digidi lutalini digidi lutalini digidi lutalini digidi kusamwikulu lutalini digidi lutalini digidi lutalini digidi lutalini digidi kusamwikulu lutalini digidi 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 wapetero bamenya niyo moyo kulisya 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 haleluya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya haleluya niyo moyo kulisya lirobali fwesanga lirobali fwesanga liroba oh liroba lirobali fwesanga lirobali fwesanga lirobali fwesanga liroba oh liroba lirobali fwesanga lutalini digidi lutalini digidi mwikulu lutalini digidi oh mwikulu mwikulu sulingira lutalini digidi lutalini digidi mwikulu lutalini digidi oh mwikulu
Uongozi maana yake,
uongozi ndio uwezo uliopewa na watu
wa kuwahudumia
mahitaji yao
na kuishughulikia
maslahi yao.
Uongozi watoka wapi?
Uongozi watoka kwake Baba Mwenyezi Mungu,
kwa wateule wake
aliyewateua
kuwaongoza watu
kwa mapenzi yake.
Tangu tupate uhuru
Katika nchi ya Kenya tumebarikiwa sana
kupata viongozi
kwa busara sana.
Twatoa shukrani
kwa Mwenyezi Mungu,
nasi wananchi Kenya
sote tunalo jukumu la kujenga nchi yetu
na kumsaidia
viongozi wetu
katika kazi yake
ya kujenga nchi.
nasi wananchi Kenya
Sote tunalo jukumu la kujenga nchi yetu
na kumsaidia
viongozi wetu
katika kazi yake
ya kujenga nchi.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
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 Kenya ni nchi nzuri sana, lazima tuilinde.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
Tusikubali wachochezi waiharibu Kenya.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
Wananchi wetu wa Kenya tuheshimu mamlaka, kwa sababu uwezo wote watoka kwa Mungu juu.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
Tukitaka maendeleo katika nchi yetu, ni lazima tuungane sote tujenge nchi yetu.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
Vigelegele na nderemo tushangilie Kenya.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
Vigelegele na nderemo tushangilie Kenya.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
Tuungane na viongozi tukijenga taifa.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
Tuungane na rais wetu tukijenga taifa.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
Vigelegele na nderemo tushangilie Kenya.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
Vigelegele na nderemo tushangilie Kenya.
Kenya ni imara, sote tunajivunia.
Uongozi maana yake,
Uongozi ndio uwezo tuliopewa na watu
kwa kuwahudumia
mahitaji yao
na kushughulikia
maslahi yao.
Uongozi watoka wapi?
Uongozi watoka kwake
Baba Mwenyezi Mungu, kwa wateule wake
aliyewateua
waongoza watu
kwa mapenzi yake.
Thank you very much, Wazalendo. Please carry on. Wazalendo Choir. These are former university students who have come together for the love of music. We appreciate the good work you're doing. Please carry on.
Amka, kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya watutegemea sisi. Amka, kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya watutegemea sisi.
Uvivu ni adui
wa maendeleo, kwa hivyo tukazane wananchi wote, popote ulipo kazini mwako, kazana ili nyota ing'are. Madaraka ya afisi uliopewa, sio kula mishahara tu. Amka, kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya watutegemea sisi. Amka, kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya watutegemea sisi.
serikalini hata
Makampuni, lengo letu ni moja, kujenga Kenya. Tumunge mkono rais wetu, tujenge Kenya, Kenya taifa letu. Serikali ni ya wana Kenya wote, si kubwa wala si mdogo. Amka, kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya watutegemea sisi. Amka, kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya watutegemea sisi.
na ukipewa kazi
Ukumbuke, si kwa sababu ya kabila lako, kazi umepewa kulingana na uwezo wako. Kwa hivyo tusigawanye wananchi wa Kenya, ni jamii moja. Amka, kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya watutegemea sisi. Amka, kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya watutegemea sisi.
Thank you, thank you. A round of applause, please. Tafadhali tuwapigie makofi mazuri. Yeah, we can retreat as I welcome the Melo Band. I wanted to be recruited here. I was told I must be a pilot. These are pilots and above, eh? Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Melo Band, please.
Matali tobogo chunya lerana baby na ninya mama aparo era wako dio yo jakinya gibeti agenenge mana ngamatali tobogo chunyale rana uchuna makapari akuyo aonge morshe meji mama hani akwairi terawani kiongele rato chunyo kuyo jaber uchuna makapari akuyo aonge morshe meji mama hani akwairi terawani kiongele rato chunyo kuyo jaber ogenata genole rana jakinya gibeti engi mana oerata ero baby na nyadi jogi bobi maglata nyadundo ogenata genole rana jakinya gibeti engi mana oerata ero baby na nyadi jogi bobi maglata nyadundo pari kamwae jabe hirawani nyasae mochano hani nema pari sechete nyagi jeno baby taero nyakato pari kamwae jabe hirawani nyasae mochano hani nema pari sechete nyagi jeno baby taero nyakato bogo chunyale rana bibi na ninya mama aparo era wako dio yo jakinya gibeti agende gimana ngamatali to bogo chunyale rana uchuna makapari akuyo aonge morshe meji mama akwairi terawani kiongele rato chunyo kuyo jaber uchuna makapari akuyo aonge morshe meji mama hani akwairi terawani kiongele rato chunyo kuyo jaber ogenata genole rana jakinya gibeti engi mana oherata ero baby na nyadi jogi bobi maglata nyadundo ogenata genole rana jakinya gibeti engi mana oherata ero baby na nyadi jogi bobi maglata nyadundo pari kamwae jabe hirawani nyasae mochano hani nema pari sechete nyagi jeno baby taero nyakato pari kamwae jabe hirawani nyasae mochano hani nema pari sechete nyagi jeno baby taero nyakato
very much, band. Nitaomba kwa heshima maneno mawili, that first of all we manage our phones most kindly, and also do mine. We put them on silent mode because I promise it will ring, and it will ring the very wrong moment. And at that point, fate has it. I don't know why. You will try looking for it, you can't get it. To try and silence it, it disobeys. So I request most kindly that we manage our phones now. All of us, most kindly, we manage our phones so that we can have a smooth function. When the time comes for His Excellency the President to join us, and by the way, His Excellency the President is already in this compound. When the time comes for the President to join us, to announce, and we request that we all be upstanding. After that, the mace will be placed as we remain standing, and then we'll have the national anthem and the East African Community anthem, followed by prayers. Niombe sote na kwa pamoja na kwa sauti, tukiongozwa na bedi yetu ya Kenya Police Service Band na kwaya, tuimbe kifungu cha kwanza cha wimbo wa taifa wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na pia wimbo wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Kwa pamoja tuimbe, tujivunie wimbo wetu wa taifa, one of the national emblems that we have, one of the most unique anthems in the world. Tujivunie as we pray for our country through the singing of the national anthem. After that, our program will continue as printed in the program that you have with you. At the end of the function, I am advised we are invited for lunch, but as we proceed for lunch, we'll have a brief moment here, photo moment. Tutaomba Mheshimiwa Rais atukubalie tupige picha naye, just a few of them out here, and we'll be able to tell you who is taking the photo with who. So, ladies and gentlemen, karibuni. I'll be working with him from the Judiciary today. Tutafanya pamoja, Bwana Steve. We'll work together on this program and wish you a very successful program. Niombe wale tuko nje tuingie tuketi sasa as we wait for His Excellency the President to join us here. Most kindly. Karuri, continue.
Asante sana mfawidhi mwenzangu Bwana Wanjohi. Presidential Escort Band, kama mnaweza kuendelea na burudani.
atachukua. Obrigado. Tutacheza ya procession. Obrigado. Unajua,
mwenye pendo alituumba
mfano wa yeye
akatuweka Kenya, nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Mwenyezi Mungu
Mwenye pendo
nguvu za ajabu alituma mfano wake yeye
akatuweka Kenya, nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Hiari yake katupatia lugha mbalimbali, katupatia tamaduni mbalimbali,
akatuweka Kenya, nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Amkeni watu wote tuijenge Kenya,
tuipendayo,
umoja na bidii tuijenge
Kenya, tuipendayo.
Jenga Kenya ni kulinda maisha ya wana
Kenya, tuipendayo.
Kenya ni kuboresha hali ya wana
Kenya, tuipendayo.
Amkeni watu wote tuijenge Kenya,
tuipendayo.
umoja na bidii tuijenge Kenya,
tuipendayo.
Jenga Kenya ni kulinda maisha ya wana
Kenya, tuipendayo.
na Kenya ni kuboresha hali ya wana
Kenya, tuipendayo.
Mwenyezi Mungu
mwenye pendo
nguvu za ajabu alituumba kwa mfano wake yeye
akatuweka Kenya, nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Mwenyezi Mungu
mwenye
pendo na nguvu za ajabu alituumba kwa mfano wake akatuweka.
Once His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, has joined us at this venue, we will have a procession by the judges who, led by the mace, and immediately the mace is placed here, we will have the national anthem and the East African Community anthem. I will request most kindly the honorable judges to make the paces just slightly fast so that we place the mace, because His Excellency the President will be waiting. Thank you. Kwaya, niombe tuendelee. Kwaya, tuendelee.
Mungu mwenye pendo ndiye alituumba na akatuweka Kenya, nchi nzuri ya ajabu. Ametupatia lugha za ajabu,
tamaduni mbalimbali, akatuweka
Kenya, nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Mwenyezi Mungu upendo na nguvu za ajabu. Alituumba kwa mfano wake yeye, akatuweka Kenya,
nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Kwa hiari yake katupatia lugha mbalimbali, katupatia tamaduni mbalimbali, akatuweka Kenya,
nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Amkeni watu wote tuijenge Kenya,
tuipenda
kwa umoja na bidii tuijenge Kenya,
tuipenda.
Jenga Kenya ni kulinda maisha ya wana Kenya,
tuipenda.
Linda Kenya ni kuboresha hali ya wana Kenya,
tuipenda.
Amkeni watu wote tuijenge Kenya,
tuipenda.
kwa umoja na bidii tuijenge Kenya,
tuipenda.
Jenga Kenya ni kulinda maisha ya wana Kenya,
tuipenda.
na Kenya ni kuboresha hali ya wana Kenya,
tuipendayo.
Mwenyezi Mungu kwa upendo na nguvu za ajabu alituumba kwa mfano wake yeye,
akatuweka
Kenya,
nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Kwa hiari yake katupatia lugha mbalimbali, katupatia tamaduni mbalimbali,
akatuweka
Kenya,
nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Mwenyezi
Mungu mwenye pendo
na nguvu za ajabu
alituumba
kwa mfano wake
na akatuweka
Kenya,
nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Hiari yake katupatia lugha mbalimbali, katupatia tamaduni mbalimbali,
akatuweka
Kenya,
nchi nzuri ya ajabu.
Kenya ni nchi yangu, oh Kenya ni nchi yangu, Kenya ni nchi yangu, milele na milele.
Naipenda Kenya kwa moyo wangu wote, nitaishi Kenya maisha yangu yote. Naipenda Kenya kwa moyo wangu wote, nitaishi Kenya maisha yangu yote. Mimi ni mwana Kenya, mimi ni mzalendo, naona fahari kuishi kwetu Kenya. Mimi ni mwana Kenya, nina furaha kuona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya, kuona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya. Napenda amani, umoja, udogo ulio hapa Kenya.
Nitaijenga, nitaitukuza,
Weka tayari kuilinda,
Ni wajibu wa kila mwananchi kuitafuta amani kila siku. Hivyo ndivyo maendeleo yetu yatapanda vizazi na vizazi. Ni wajibu wa kila mwananchi kuitafuta amani kila siku. Hivyo ndivyo maendeleo yetu yatapanda vizazi na vizazi.
Ni muhimu sisi wananchi tulinde umoja wetu, juhudi zetu pamoja zionyeshe uzalendo. Mimi ni mwana Kenya, mimi ni mzalendo, naona fahari kuishi kwetu Kenya. Mimi ni mwana Kenya, nina furaha kuona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya, kuona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya, kuona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya, kuona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya. Amani, umoja, dogo ulio hapa Kenya, nitaijenga, nitaitukuza, weka tayari kuilinda. Ni wajibu wa kila mwananchi kuitafuta amani kila siku. Hivyo ndivyo maendeleo yetu yatapanda vizazi na vizazi. Ni wajibu wa kila mwananchi kuitafuta amani kila siku. Hivyo ndivyo maendeleo yetu yatapanda vizazi na vizazi. Ni muhimu sisi wananchi tulinde umoja wetu, juhudi zetu pamoja zionyeshe uzalendo. Mimi ni mwana Kenya, mimi ni mzalendo, naona fahari kuishi kwetu Kenya. Mimi ni mwana Kenya, nina furaha kuona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya, kuona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya, kuona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya, kuona maendeleo ya nchi yangu Kenya.
One of the songs as a child I didn't like, Amka kumepambazuka tena. I now know different. Can I request the choir to do that song? Amka kumepambazuka tena. I love the song these days because we all have to be up and ready to go and serve the nation. Choir, Amka kumepambazuka tena.
Amka kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya watutegemea sisi. Amka kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya watutegemea sisi. Uvivu ni adui wa maendeleo, kwa hivyo tukazane wananchi wote. Kokote uliko kazini mwako, kazana ili nyota ing'are. Madaraka ya afisi uliyopewa siyo kula mishahara tu. Amka kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi. Ujenzi wa taifa letu Kenya, watutegemea sisi.
Amka,
Kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi.
ujenzi
Wa taifa letu Kenya, watutegemea sisi. Serikalini hata makampuni, lengo letu ni moja, kujenga Kenya.
President, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate, Attorney General, karibuni sana. Karibuni sana. Justice, karibu pia. Karibuni sana.
amka,
Kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi.
ujenzi
Wa taifa letu Kenya, watutegemea sisi.
amka,
Kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi.
ujenzi
Wa taifa letu Kenya, watutegemea sisi. Na ukipewa kazi ukumbuke, si kwa sababu ya kabila lako. Kazi umepewa kulingana na uwezo wako. Kwa hivyo usigawanye wananchi, wa Kenya ni jamii moja.
amka,
Kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi.
ujenzi
Wa taifa letu Kenya, watutegemea sisi.
amka,
Kumepambazuka tena, twendeni tufanye kazi.
ujenzi
Wa taifa letu Kenya, watutegemea sisi.
Let us appreciate them, ladies and gentlemen, as they continue giving us more music. Thank you for that song. Give us one more, choir. And as I continue reminding us, those of us who came later, that we kindly manage our funds so that we can have a smooth function with no interruptions. Thank you. Choir.
Uongozi maana yake
Uongozi ndio uwezo uliopewa na watu,
wahudumia
mahitaji yao,
na kushughulikia
masilahi yao.
uongozi watoka wapi?
Uongozi watoka kwake Baba Mwenyezi Mungu,
Kwa wateule wake
aliyewateua
huwaongoza watu
kwa mapenzi yake.
tangu tupate uhuru.
Katika nchi ya Kenya tumebarikiwa sana,
Kupata viongozi
kwa busara sana.
We will now all be upstanding for His
shukrani.
Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya. Tumkaribishe kwa makofi anapoungana nasi Mheshimiwa Rais. Welcome Your Excellency. Karibu sana. I most humbly request Your Excellency that we remain standing as the mace is brought and placed. We remain standing for the procession and the placing of the mace. sing now the national anthem of the Republic of Kenya and the East African Community Anthem. Studying the Honorable Sukian Hassan, the Deputy Chief Kathy, and Reverend Father Patrick Dongo, Judiciary Chaplain, who will lead us in prayer. Imam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's all pray. In the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful, praise be to Allah, the Lord, creator and sustainer of all creation. O God, you alone we sincerely worship, and you alone we humbly ask and pray for your help and assistance in everything we do and undertake. Guide us to the right and straight path that will grant and lead us to success in our world and in the hereafter, when we will all be assembled before you for accountability and final judgment on our deeds in this world. Ya Allah, grant our leaders wisdom, correct and right vision, and the strength to deliver their task and mandate in the best manner that would please you, Allah. O God, you have entrusted the judiciary with the delicate task of dispensing justice among your servants. Ya Allah, make this enormous task easy for all our judges and other justice sectors. God, we thank you for the good work and positive contributions made by the JSC, National Council for the Administration of Justice, our judges, judicial officers, directorates, and the stakeholders in justice sector towards the immense improvement and transformations in the delivery of justice. O God of justice, continue granting our judges, judicial officers, and all other supporting agencies guidance, wisdom, and vision to serve your servants in the best manner as pleases you. I quote finally this verse, all you who believe, stand out firmly for justice as witness to Allah, even though it be against yourselves or your parents or your kin, be he rich or poor. Allah is a better protector to both than you. So follow not the lust of your hearts, lest you may avoid justice. And if you distort your witness or refuse to give it, verily Allah is ever well acquainted with what you do. Amen.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father and God, this good morning in which we gather on the occasion of the presentation of the state of the judiciary and the administration of justice, we want to glorify your name, for everything good happens for the greater glory of your name. We thank you for the gift of our country, Kenya, and her citizens. We pray that you may keep them safe, protect them from suffering, especially now when we ask you to bless our country with plenty of food to save the drought-stricken communities. Dear Lord, we thank you, Father, for the gift of leadership in our country. We pray that you bless all the arms of government entrusted with managing the affairs of this great nation. Bless the leaders of these institutions with immense wisdom, good health, and concern for the nation. We pray in particular for our President, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, his Deputy Rigathi Gachagua, and their cabinet secretaries. Heavenly Father, make them stewards, and through them make this country prosper in all the sectors. We pray for our legislators in both houses of our parliament, through the leadership of the two speakers. Bless the work of their hearts. Help them to diligently carry out their role of representation, legislation, and oversight. In a special way, we give you thanks and offer this prayer for the judiciary. As we come together today for the presentation of the state of their work in the administration of justice, we pray that you make them yours, make them grow, always help them to navigate through their challenges, make them instruments of your justice and peace in this country. Bless and protect them and their families at all times. Give them wisdom while rendering justice. We pray in a special way for the Honorable Justice Martha Koome, Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, and her deputy, the Honorable Philomena Mwilu. Lord, protect them and always inspire their minds in their work as they lead in the administration of the judicial arm of government. Make them yours, make their work yours. Bless this day, make all plans a success, and allow all future strategies to come to fruition in service of your people for the greater glory of your name. May God bless us all, bless our nation, and bless our day, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Your Excellency, sir, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated as I invite Mr. Karuri from the Judiciary to guide us with the rest of the program. Bwana Karuri, karibu.
Thank you, Mr. Wanjohi. Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Honorable Lady Justice Martha Koome, Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Governor Nairobi City County, and all elected leaders present, Cabinet Secretaries present, led by the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Excellencies, Ambassadors, and High Commissioners, all judges present, staff of the Judiciary, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. With the kind permission of Your Excellency, sir, the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary will make some brief welcoming remarks. Karibu, Madam CRJ.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, Your Excellency, Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable the Chief Justice, Honorable Martha Koome, Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Honorable Moses Wetangula, Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Philomena Mwilu, the Deputy Chief Justice and Vice President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, the Honorable the Attorney General, Honorable Justin Muturi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to adopt the protocol that has already been laid. Good morning. It's a great privilege for me to welcome you, Your Excellency, and all our special guests this morning to the Judiciary. We are extremely grateful that you found time to join us this morning to witness the presentation of the 2021-2022 edition of the annual State of the Judiciary and the Administration of Justice report, or SOJA as we call it. We are grateful to see so many of our partners returning to the launch of yet another edition of our annual report. I'm also elated to see quite a number of new faces as we forge new relationships with other organizations that share in our commitment to expand access to justice to the people of Kenya. I'm particularly honored to have Your Excellency, the President, as our chief guest. This is not the first time you're honoring us with your presence for this function, and we do not take it for granted. We are also very grateful for the support that your government has accorded to the judiciary so far, and we are confident that when we return here next year for the presentation of the 12th edition of this report, we and the people of Kenya will have a lot more to celebrate. Let me also thank, in a very special way, the legislature represented here by the Honorable Speaker. You've supported us with the resources that have enabled us to discharge our mandate. And you've always honored our invitation to this annual event. All the previous speakers have been part of this, and we do not take that for granted either. Today, the Chief Justice is here to present the 11th edition of SOJA, alongside the representatives of judges, judicial officers, and staff who work tirelessly during the reporting, who have worked tirelessly during the reporting period to ensure the highest standards of service delivery for the people of Kenya. Your Excellency, allow me just a few moments to recognize the members of the Judicial Service Commission. I'll just ask that you rise and wave. Judicial Service Commission members, thank you very much. I want to acknowledge in a special way judges of the Supreme Court. Thank you very much for being here, for all the work that you've done. Judges of the Court of Appeal, led by the President of the Court, Honorable Justice Musinga, and your judges, thank you very much. We acknowledge you. Judges of the High Court and Courts of Equal Status, together with their presiding and principal judges, just rise and let's acknowledge you. Let's give them a hand. Thank you. Thank you so much for the results that you've posted. We also have registrars who support my office to facilitate the various courts. Our registrars, Court of Appeal, Registrar, High Court, Registrar Magistrates Court, Registrar Small Claims Court, Registrar Courts of Equal Status. Thank you very much for the work that you do. We have heads of stations, we have magistrates, we have directors who support, who provide the administrative support for the judicial work. We have staff here also represented by the Kenya Judicial Staff Association. And finally, I want in a special way to acknowledge the members of the SOJA Preparatory Committee that put together this report. Members of the committee, are you here? Please stand up so that we can acknowledge you. Thank you very much, Madam Washuka, for leading the team. They are all at the back there. We do not take for granted the work that you have put in. Your Excellency, the stability and economic development of a nation turns on the fulcrum of the rule of law. And the rule of law operates best when the three coordinate branches of government work in symphony and not in conflict or conspiracy. It is for this reason that we've always proclaimed as our operative policy the principle of robust independence and constructive interdependence. It is our commitment to the rule of law that has seen the judiciary in the last 12 years painstakingly work on its transformation agenda that has continued to secure its independence. I'm glad that the second limb of that independence, the financial autonomy, has finally been achieved by the operationalization of the Judiciary Fund, which took effect on 1st July 2022. And that is something for us to celebrate as a judiciary. I want to thank the Honorable Chief Justice. I want to acknowledge the Something I want to say which is quite significant in Kenya's democratic outlook, and this is a peaceful and orderly transition of power in all the three arms of government. Here in the judiciary, we are launching the 11th soldier under the 3rd Chief Justice. We note that similar but fewer transitions of power have occurred in the executive and the legislature as well. We do not take these developments for granted, but build on them as we endeavor to create an inclusive, responsive, and effective government for the welfare of the people of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, the milestones recorded in the report that is before us is a product of collective efforts from the diverse internal stakeholders whom I've just introduced. And mine, therefore, is to thank all the individuals and organizations who have contributed in one way or other to work with the judiciary over the past year, including all the justice agencies, civil society, and the media as well. Let me also acknowledge our development partners who have always worked with us. They have offered us resources where we've had gaps, and they've also offered us technical support to make sure that we achieve what we're here for. Your presence here today continues to be a great source of encouragement and hope for us. We will continue with this constructive engagement with each and every one of you with a view to securing the justice needs of this nation. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much once again for being here. Karibuni sana, and may God bless us all. May I now call upon, invite the Governor, His Excellency Johnson Sakaja, to come forward and make some remarks.
I don't know if we're allowed to clap in the judiciary, but I think the Chief Registrar deserves a hand of applause. Your Excellency, the President and the Deputy President, Lady Justice Martha Koome, the Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court. Your Excellency, functions in Kenya would end in half the time if we didn't have to say everybody's name. So allow me to associate myself with the protocol already established. I acknowledge all the leaders here, all the different institutions that are represented. Let me first start by thanking the Chief Justice, whose gracious invitation has brought together so many distinguished Kenyans, beginning, of course, with Your Excellency, President of the Republic, and continuing with representatives of every branch of government and of our development partners, and any number of distinguished Kenyans who are here with us today. It is our pleasure to join you all. It is especially appropriate for the rest of us in other branches and levels of government to join in celebrating the judiciary and its leadership under the Chief Justice. Committee between governments and different branches is good. Ladies and gentlemen, cast your minds back to two of the most heated political controversies of the last few years, the general election and the Building Bridges Initiative. Both times, after an open public hearing of the arguments on either side, the Supreme Court gave a considered ruling that won the acceptance, even of those who did not assent. Quietly and almost unnoticed, the judiciary has become an exceptional solver of difficult public disputes. In a democratic country, not all disputes can be settled in court. There is and must be room for elections, for parliament's lawmaking, for executive discretion in administration, in short, for the proper separation of functions between branches of government. But where the judiciary has done well, we leaders in other branches of government must not be slow to commend you. And you also should not be slow to return the favor when the rest of us do well. Your Excellency, indeed, it's a pleasure to be here. I've not been a common visitor. Apart from the last election, I was very frequent here, and I made lasting relationships. So it's good to be here on a different mandate. But I want to mention, Your Excellency, two judgments that are not less important for being less well-known than the decisions the Supreme Court has made in the presidential elections and the like. First is the High Court's ruling of 2013 that secured prisoners' rights to vote. And second ruling in the same year, the ruling that blocked evictions in Mudurwa, right here in this county. Each time, the judiciary has protected and expanded the rights of the weak against the strong. These cases got nowhere near as much attention as those about national politics or high-stakes elections, but they have changed the lives of ordinary Kenyans in ways few institutions have managed. Asanteni sana na hongera. Let me also mention very briefly, Your Excellency, the success that we've been able to attain together with you and the Chief Justice in setting up the Valuation Court, a process that had been stuck for a number of years. As you all know, many of you are enjoying rates from the 1980s that you pay to the county government, and we've had a process of changing the valuation role to modern times. But with 6,200 objections, we were not able to start implementing the use of the valuation role. In less than 4 days, a conversation between His Excellency the President, myself, and the Chief Justice led us to gazette the establishment of the Valuation Court on the 26th of October. The CJ appointed Principal Magistrate Stephen Onjoro to chair the said court, and we gazetted 2 other members. And I am confident that we shall solve those 6,200 disputes in the next 2 weeks. Your Excellency, we are accepting all the disputes. If the county government and the valuation role says your property is worth 100 million, and you say it is worth 10 million, we shall accept. But when you need to compulsorily acquire it, we shall acquire it for 10 million, Your Excellency. I'm sure those cases will drop. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is much to celebrate, and we shouldn't forget that the judiciary is the first of the branches of the national government to be led by a woman. Let me ask you to join me in appreciating and applauding the judiciary. Equally, Your Excellency, no institution is perfect, and we would be the falsest of friends if we didn't take this opportunity as well to suggest ways in which you could serve us better, Lady Justice. If we're going to do an even better job of protecting the rights of ordinary Kenyans than we have in the past, we will need to make access to justice much quicker and easier. The people of Nairobi, for instance, expect no less. In any case, it is one of our manifesto pledges. Let us work together to open more courts in Nairobi and seriously consider opening borough courts, which would ease the administration of justice. The backlog of cases needs to be addressed, and we ask for the appointment of more staff to handle matters more quickly. There are still unacceptable delays that cost ordinary people their time, their money, and their peace of mind. We note that there's a caseload at the City Court, right here at City Hall, whose bulk of cases are traffic-related against motorists within the city. Suffice to note that our remand facilities are congested with petty traffic offenders arrested by enforcement officers within the city. Your Excellency, the day before yesterday, I put out a message that received very interesting responses. And I told Nairobians, Your Excellency, we're grappling with illegal dumping. We are doing our best to clear. So far, we've done 86,000 tons, but we clear a place and somebody comes and blatantly just dumps. And I've asked Nairobians that if they record somebody dumping illegally and we prosecute that person, we'll find a way to split the fine with the Nairobians, such that all Nairobians become enforcement officers. We will need to address that, Your Excellency, with the judiciary so that we can clear these petty cases. The traffic offenses can be paid by instant fines. The Traffic Act allows for that. We've set smart cameras across the city, but it just takes some few decisions from your office, Your Excellency, and mine, and the judiciary to unlock that, so that we don't have petty offenders clogging the judicial system, and so that every Kenyan looks out for the other and becomes enforcement officers. If you see somebody overlapping, take a video, take a photo, send it to us. Once we prosecute them, we can share the fine. That is also going to create employment. Kazi ni kazi, Your Excellency. So, Lady Justice and the judiciary, we know the number of cases on our side, and we would be happy to help in any way that we can. The construction of 4 small claim courts under Dagoretti, Kasarani, Mihango, and Huruma has started under the county government. It had started under the now defunct NMS, and I understand that the construction of these courts are stalled. But I will not let these projects become white elephants under my watch. I will liaise with the national government and treasury to have a special budget approved and released to ensure that we can conclude those projects of those 4 small claim courts. And as I've said, we'd want more in the different boroughs that we're setting up across the city. We look forward to handing them over to you, Chief Justice, on completion, so that we can hasten the business of bringing justice to the people of Nairobi. Your Excellency, during the 71 days and 24 minutes I've been in office, we have, through our participation in the City Court Users Committee, done a quick and cursory assessment of the status of the City Court here, and we are saddened by the state of affairs therein. Among the notable issues that require urgent intervention is the lack of sanitation for litigants, advocates, and other court users. We pledge to provide, Your Excellency, the next few days, mobile facilities for that as we create a more permanent solution to give dignity to everybody in our judicial system, and especially those at the City Court. We commend the Chief Justice for establishing the first sexual and gender-based violence court in Kenya at Shanzu, and our administration supports and will enforce this by working with the judiciary and other partners to maintain and set up safe houses within the city. We're already launching one soon with the Women Rep of Nairobi, together with the police, so that we can protect women and children who are victims of gender-based violence, and we have a lot of that, especially sexual gender-based violence in our informal settlements. But enough of policy, Your Excellency. Today is your day, Chief Justice and the Judiciary, ladies and gentlemen of the court. So let me close with the praise you have earned. We are grateful for your service in protecting and preserving the rights of Kenyans, in upholding equal justice under the law, and in solving wisely some of the most difficult disputes that the Kenyan public life has ever produced. May you be granted the wisdom to continue to serve, and may justice remain our shield and defender. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki. Your Excellency, it is now my honor to invite the Honorable Attorney General to make his remarks. Karibu.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, the Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Honorable the Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Lady Justice Martha Koome, Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula, the Honorable the Deputy Chief Justice, Lady Justice Philomena Mwilu, the Governor of Nairobi City, the Honorable Johnson Sakaja, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say that it's an honor for me to join you today for the launch of the State of the Judiciary and the Administrative Justice Report for the 2021-2022 financial year. And from the outset, I would like to thank the Honorable the Chief Justice and our team for a job well done in developing the report that is being launched today. Your Excellency, this report provides all actors in the justice sector, and indeed all citizens, the opportunity to evaluate the performance of the judiciary for the financial year under review. We will be able to take stock of the strengths that have been made and the challenges that have been encountered in the realization of the judiciary's key mandate of ensuring access to justice. Such an open and transparent evaluation of the state of the judiciary and the administration of justice is critical in informing strategies and decisions for improved performance going into the future. Your Excellency, there is no doubt that much effort has been made towards building an independent and functioning judiciary in line with the requirements of our Constitution. One of the key highlights of these efforts in the financial year under review, Your Excellency, was as has been stated by the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, the operationalization of the Judiciary Fund, which has remained a thorn in the flesh for a long time. And as you recall, Your Excellency, in the past, every time we appear here, there's always been that request for its operationalization. Your Excellency's commitment for additional 3 billion shillings annually to the judiciary in the next 5 years is also a milestone within the period that is being reviewed. While more work remains to be done, these decisions will serve to guarantee the financial independence of the judiciary, which is a foundational element of the overall judicial independence. The decisions will also support the agenda of transforming the judiciary, including through the enhancement of the judiciary's infrastructural and human resource capacities. Judicial independence, like the independence of other arms of government, is a tool for serving and protecting the public interest. Therefore, regardless of the arms of governments in which we serve, we are collectively bound by the duty to serve the public. This collective duty makes us interdependent and requires of us collegiality, constructive checks and balances, and support for each other. Your Excellency, as a member of the Judicial Service Commission and principal legal advisor to the government, I have committed to serve as a link between the executive and the judiciary and to assist in ensuring that the two arms of government enjoy the cordial relations as they discharge their respective constitutional mandates without interference of each other's functions. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm most grateful for your kind attention, and God bless you all, and God bless Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Attorney General. Allow me, sir, now to invite the Deputy Chief Justice to make her remarks and invite the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly.
Your Excellency, the President of this Republic, and the Commander-in-Chief of our Defense Forces, Your Excellency, our Deputy President, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, all members of the Cabinet that are present with us today, the Governor of Nairobi, my colleagues at the Judiciary, at all levels of court, the directorates and staff, justice seekers here present, the staff of the Judiciary. Good morning. Now, today happens to be, at least in my judgment, the second most important day in the judiciary. Second, after the days that we hear and determine cases and avail justice to justice seekers in the Republic of Kenya, and some from outside the Republic, because we are approached from all corners. Second, because it is the day that we come to obey the Constitution, to obey the statute that is the Judicial Service Act, where in Section 5 of that Act, we are called upon to give an account of what we have done in a whole year, gazette that account, and give it to the Speaker of the National Assembly to debate and strengthen that report. Now, the report is not just a report. It is an account of our accountability to the people of Kenya, whom we serve. We are independent, but that independence means nothing if it is not accompanied with and by accountability. And so today, we come here to tell Kenyans that for the last 1 year that you have allowed us to serve you, this is what we did for Kenya. This is where we need improvement, and this is where we need your support. Secondly, the judiciary cannot succeed alone. The judiciary is as good as the people it serves, and it is as good as its partners. Now, the Constitution requires that the three arms of government though furiously independent, are of necessity constructively interdependent. And that's where we connect with each other, where we are able to do one thing as the Constitution mandates that we do. The other arms of government come in as the Constitution requires them to do to support the discharge of the main item that we discharge from this end of the three arms of government, which is accessing justice to the people who pay our salaries. And it is such a primary concern that if it does not receive the support that it must receive from the other arms of government, we just cannot succeed. And so, on this, our second important day, we from the judiciary refuse to talk and talk through the report. Now, that report is delivered by the Honorable the Chief Justice, as I will later talk about. But for now, allow me to take this privileged position to invite our other partner, the head of the legislature, the Honorable the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula, to come and speak to this congregation.
Thank you, DCJ. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Deputy President, my Lady, the Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, judges of the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and the other courts, the Governor of Nairobi, Cabinet ministers here present, and distinguished members in the congregation. Coming to, sorry, my friend, the Attorney General, my classmate. Coming to the judiciary for many of us is like a homecoming because this is where we started our early life. I was appointed a magistrate in 1983. And we served in various parts of this country. I didn't last long in the judiciary, and I left to go to practice. I'm saying this, Your Excellency, because as late as the early 80s, access to justice in this country was a very difficult issue. I remember in late 1983, I was hired by a sitting MP then to go to Mandera to represent his constituent. Going to Mandera took me 2 days by road, and I appeared in a court presided over by a DC who had no knowledge of any law. And as I was cross-examining a witness, he cut me short and said, "Wakili, maliza haraka tufunge huyu mtu twende." That is how far Kenyans have come to now access modern processes of getting justice. So we come here today, Lady Chief Justice and the judiciary as a whole, to celebrate your week and to receive your report and place it before the House of Parliament, where it will be debated, and the other arm of government that I lead will pass some judgment on your report, on your performance, and that is how interdependent we must be. Today, as we celebrate this great day, I want to encourage the judiciary to remain studiously independent. For the last couple of years, bills and acts of parliament passed at Parliament
have found their fate not too welcoming in the judiciary. You struck out many of them as being unconstitutional. And that is as it should be, because each arm of government must supplicate itself to the other. And whenever you make such decisions, it makes the legislature even more careful in ensuring that the laws they pass must be consistent with the Constitution and with the aspirations of the people of Kenya. So, Your Excellency, as we come here, I want to salute you for being consistent in declaring your desire and your government to support the judiciary unconditionally so that they can be able to dispense justice to the ordinary people. Just one thing I want to finish with, Lady Chief Justice, and I think I've said this to you a few times before. In the old days when we were young practitioners, courts were studiously time conscious. 9 o'clock, if a lawyer or his client were not in court, the judges, the magistrates were seated there, and they would take a very dim view of a lawyer who comes late or a litigant who comes late. I want to encourage the judiciary that we keep to that tradition so that members of the public who seek justice don't come and stand in the corridors of the courts for too long. I can see now you are digital, even though the digital platform, if we observe time, will save a lot of other issues for Kenyans. Allow me to finish by once again saluting our judiciary for coming of age and for making milestone decisions in many, many disputes between citizens and citizens, citizens and the state, not to mention politicians versus politicians. And now we have come to a level where even those who don't agree with what you say are respecting what you say. And that is the Kenya we want, and that's the Kenya we must have. Thank you, and may God help the judiciary continue being the true defender of the interests of the weak and the mighty at the same level, because that's where society must be. Thank you.
Asante sana, Bwana Speaker, sir. You just happen to be in the judiciary, so this is our day. Your Excellencies, we are gathered today in this place to give an account of what we have done as required by statute. And the statute says that the person who will give that account on our behalf is the Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, and it now falls on me to invite the Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic, the Honorable Martha Karambo Kome, the President of my court, to come here and give the report. The Chief Justice.
Thank you very much, my sister, the Honorable Lady Justice Philomena Mwiru. Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, our Speaker, Honorable Moses Wetangula, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Deputy Chief Justice and Vice President of the Supreme Court of Kenya. Allow me also to adopt the protocol that has been established and recognize all the very distinguished guests that we have this morning, particularly recognizing our cabinet secretaries And I think our Prime Chief Cabinet Secretary is coming to the Judiciary for the first time. I've never seen him before. You're most welcome. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, judges, our development partners, constitutional commissioners, our partners at the National Council on the Administration of Justice, all the people we work with, the judiciary staff, everybody who has put their hand to make this report a reality and to come and support us today. We recognize you and really say a very, very good morning to all of you. I start by appreciating and thanking the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, for honoring the judiciary with your presence in this event. I also thank the Deputy President and the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Cabinet Secretaries, the Principal Secretaries, members of the National Assembly and the Senate, the Judicial Service Commission, chairpersons and commissioners of the various independent constitutional commissions present in this event. In addition, I'm gratified by the presence of the ends of various agencies in the justice sector and representatives of our development partners. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, the launch of the Sonja Report 2021-2022 in the presence of the leaders of all arms of government speaks to the shared responsibility towards the realization of the constitutional right of access to justice as enshrined in Article 48 of our Constitution. This calls for all of us to embrace collaborative institutional engagement because indeed we serve one citizen, the one we have named Wanjiku. We are all most grateful, Your Excellency, for the remarkable commitment to the constitutional goal of access to justice that you have demonstrated since you assumed office as the President of the Republic. Your triple commitment to address financial constraints that has hampered the optimal service delivery by the judiciary through increased budgetary allocation. Also, addressing judiciary's human resource constraints through appointment of more judges and curing the judiciary's acute infrastructure deficit through support of the judiciary's digitization agenda, and also your commitment to support us establish 100 small claims courts, and also courts in all the constituencies and high courts in all the counties as part of your legacy agenda are truly clear of irrefutable evidence that you intend to partner with the judiciary to realize the objective of establishing an efficient and accessible justice system, and for that, we are most grateful. Your hand of support and collaboration to the judiciary could not have come at a more appropriate time. This is given that the report we are launching today, like the previous ones, show that the judiciary is not operating optimally due to significant budgetary, infrastructural, and human resource constraints. We therefore look forward to working with Your Excellency as guided by the spirit of cooperative dialogue and responsibility sharing as envisaged in the Constitution to ensure access to justice for all. The fact that Your Excellency has embraced deepening access to justice as part of your government's bottom-up agenda makes this decisive moment in the history of the Kenyan justice sector. It is a moment that historians will, in future, look back to and identify as a transformative moment when all state organs jointly embarked on the journey of establishing an efficient justice system, which is a key ingredient and enabler for the realization of our national aspiration of social and economic development. In the judiciary, we are currently pursuing a strategic vision that we call social transformation through access to justice. This vision is a continuation of the pioneering judiciary transformation framework instituted by our Chief Justice Emeritus, William Mutunga, and sustaining judiciary transformation, which was heralded by my predecessor, the Honorable Chief Justice David Maraga. The thrust of STAJ, as we nickname it, is putting in place a people-centered justice system. We aim to remove all barriers that have hindered access to justice for the excluded, or those you have identified in your policy as being in the bottom of the pyramid. We believe that this perfectly dovetails with the government's agenda. Your Excellency, the reality is that removing barriers to access to justice is a challenge that the judiciary cannot surmount on its own. Therefore, all arms of government should join hands and work together to master this formidable challenge. My call and plea today is that it is time for us to come together to build our judiciary to be a strong and independent institution, an institution where judicial services are truly public goods that are accessible to all citizens, including the vulnerable, who are the most in need of judicial services, but have historically been excluded from accessing justice. Over the last 1 year, Your Excellency, the judiciary has been hard-pressed to work in pursuit of the strategic outcomes identified in the STAJ. The report shows that we have made great strides in ensuring that our justice system is accessible, it is efficient, it is also expeditious and cost-effective as mandated in the Constitution. At the same time, it also offers the nation a glimpse of the vital and urgent areas in which our corrective intervention is still required. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, during the financial year that we are reporting, 404,000 cases were filed in the judiciary, out of which 257,000 were criminal cases, and 147,000 cases were civil cases. And just to get a glimpse of where these cases came from, 42% of them actually came from 5 counties: Nairobi, Nakuru, Mombasa, Kiambu, and Machakos. These courts recorded a case clearance rate of 94%, where 380 cases were resolved. And that, I think, deserves a clap. A clearance rate of 94% is really good. At the end of the financial year, we had 878,000 cases pending before our courts. And this comprises of 294,000 criminal cases and 384 civil cases. This is an increase by 5% from the previous year. 76% of these pending cases are before the magistrates' courts. Of the pending cases at the end of the period, 50% of them have been in the court system for over 1 year. This is a 10% decline from the previous year. In pursuit of our vision of ensuring that our justice system is efficient and cost-effective, we pursued a number of game-changing interventions and initiatives aimed at enhancing access to justice and service delivery in the course of the financial year that we are reporting. As a way of expanding the doorways of justice, 11 new ELC courts and 6 new High Court stations were established across the country. I think you need to applaud that. In addition, 2 Supreme Court sub-registries were opened, 5 Court of Appeal sub-registries, and 3 High Court sub-registries were established during this year. These initiatives expanded the footprint of these courts across the country, thereby ensuring easy geographical reach to judicial services by our litigants. Another transformative intervention, Your Excellency, during the year was the establishment of 11 small claims courts and appointment of 25 adjudicators to man these courts. The Small Claims Court is a revolutionary court that has enabled the resolution of claims below 1 million shillings to be resolved within 60 days in a process marked by informal and less cumbersome court process. Because of these features, the court has made significant contribution to the economy and contributed toward ease of doing business during the short period it has been in operation. During the year we are reporting, Your Excellency, the Small Claims Court resolved 9,315 cases, thereby releasing Kenya shillings 1.431 billion shillings in the economy. Having witnessed the revolutionary potential of the Small Claims Court over the last 1 year, we project that if we have in place 100 small claims courts operationalized in the country, this will mark a turning point for the efficiency of the justice sector. In fact, if we get adequate support, we think of having a night shift operation, what the governor was talking about, with some adjudicators sitting from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. in Nairobi and Mombasa cities, which would be a first for any public sector institution in Kenya and regionally. This will certainly place our country on the path to claiming the top spot in the continent in terms of efficiency in commercial disputes resolution, hence enhancing the country's attractiveness as a business and investment destination. To expedite the resolution of sexual and gender-based cases, we operationalized a sexual and gender-based violence court at Chanzu. This is part of our tailor-made intervention targeting access to justice for the vulnerable groups in our society, especially the children who are victims of violence. We hope to scale up the rollout of the SGBB courts throughout the country, and we are very, very happy, Your Excellency the Governor, to partner with you within Nairobi to operationalize these SGBB courts, especially where we are trying to build the small claims courts. In addition, we decentralized the political parties dispute tribunal across 7 regions during the period. This tribunal, Your Excellency, received and concluded 198 matters within 1 month of filing. I think we need to appreciate that tribunal. The decentralization of the PPDT and a significant impact on accessibility and expeditious disposal of pre-election disputes adjudication regime during the 2022 electoral cycle. It enabled us to do away with the specter of litigants traveling to Nairobi across the country as it was witnessed during the 2013 and 2017 electoral cycles, where all pre-election disputes were heard and centrally determined in Nairobi. In pursuit of our multi-door approach to access to justice, Your Excellency, the last financial year saw the strengthening and expansion of the alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Our court-annexed mediation program was expanded to an additional 8 court stations during the year. This means the court annex mediation is now operational in 94 court stations. If you are Christians, you would say amen. This period also saw the referral of 2,245 matters sent to mediation by various courts, and the resolution of 1,918 of the referred matters were resolved. The judiciary in the reporting period launched 3 alternative justice system suites and models that we launched in Kajiado, Isiolo, and Nakuru. Additionally, 10 AJS mechanisms panels were launched in Kajiado County. It is noteworthy that the Kajiado model currently focuses on land-related matters, out of which already we have dealt with 61 and resolved them successfully. These are cases that had been pending resolution with the National Land Commission for a long time. The judiciary also mounted mobile courts in far-flung areas in our continued quest to bridge the geographical distance between litigants and courts. We note, Your Excellency, the average distance traveled by courts to mobile courts location was 90 kilometers, with the farthest being 270 kilometers. We therefore operationalized 5 new mobile courts in the course of the last year. This brings the total number of mobile courts across the country to 57. The total number of cases concluded by the mobile courts during the period we are reporting are 5,220. Your Excellency, you are excited to see our virtual court. Let me speak to what we have done on leveraging on technology. The use of information and communication technology, which we have used to deepen the efficiency of our operations and the delivery of judicial service. We found technological innovations such as virtual courts, hearings to be not only cost-effective to litigants, but also an enabler to efficiency in the service delivery. We concluded the installation of in-court recording solutions in 5 courtrooms in Milimani, another one in Engineer Law Courts. We have also deployed 15 units of video conferencing solution system aimed at facilitating remote trials and cases involving parties or witnesses who are abroad. In addition, the judiciary, in partnership with the Ministry of ICT and Google Africa, connected 163 court stations to the national optic fiber backbone infrastructure, the one we call NOFBI. A further 12 remote court stations will be connected through mobile broadband. We remain acutely cognizant of the unequal access to technologies, limited internet access across the country, and lack of knowledge or ability to use technologies deployed. We are therefore developing strategies and innovations to mitigate the potential of digital exclusion. This includes the initiative to provide e-judiciary services through Huduma centers for members of the public who cannot access internet. Instead of them going to cyber cafes, they can go to the Huduma Center and find a judiciary desk where they can do their filing or conduct their hearings. On human resource capital, Your Excellency, it is a truism that performance of the judiciary's mandate is pegged foremost on having adequate and motivated personnel to deliver judicial and support services. In this regard, in collaboration with the Judicial Service Commission, the judiciary employed various modalities to build capacity of our human resource capital. For optimal function, the required judiciary establishment, Your Excellency, is 9,417 members of staff. For us to be operational, to operate optimally, we need 348 judges. We need 1,200 judicial officers. Those are the magistrates and the caddies. We need 650 law clerks and legal researchers to support the work of the judges and the judicial officers, and 7,219 judicial staff. At the end of the reporting period, the employee complement was at 66%. That is 6,182, an increase by 10% from the previous year. Judges were at 49%. Magistrates and caddies also at 49%. Law clerks and legal researchers at 27%. And judicial staff at 66%. We need the continued support of the executive and the parliament to address the human resource constraints that are prevailing in the judiciary. The judiciary also made a conscious effort to create a workplace that is inclusive and reflective of the community in which we operate as demanded by the Constitution. Overall gender representation in the judiciary, Your Excellency, female to male, is at the ratio of 49 to 51, signifying compliance with the key constitutional imperatives. I expect you to clap for that, because judiciary is providing leadership. Those who are struggling to understand how to bring gender equality in their places of work, they can come for benchmarking in the judiciary. Significantly, Your Excellency, the judiciary believes in the vitality and promise of the youth. 71% of the judiciary employees are between the ages of 26 to 45 years. I and the Deputy Chief Justice are the oldest. We still have a long way to go, including getting judges of the High Court, the Environment and Land Court, Employment and Labor Relations Court in all the counties. We require magistrates sitting in all the sub-counties and adjudicators for our small claims courts across the whole country. Addressing the human resource constraints in this regard is one of the areas where we are seeking the continued support of the executive and parliament. I will also speak briefly on the financial performance. During the reporting period, one of the key achievements was the operationalization of the Judiciary Fund at the end of the judiciary financial year. This followed from a successful consultative process between the judiciary, the National Treasury, the Central Bank, and the Controller of Budget. The Judiciary Fund account and its operational accounts were opened and activated on July 1, 2022. The Judiciary Fund Committee has been established to oversee budget implementation and to regularly advise the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary on the performance of the fund. The judiciary allocation for the year 2021-2022 was 18.1 billion, out of which 15.9 billion was for recurrent expenses, and Kenya shillings 2.154 billion was for the development budget. This represents about, Your Excellency, 0.6% of the total national budget, and just a small fraction of these resources of what is actually allocated to Parliament and the Executive. We never like to compare ourselves with other people, but when it comes to budget allocation, we are just short of shy of saying that consider the judiciary the same way you consider Parliament. It is also well below the international best practice of 3% allocation of the national budget to judiciaries. Your Excellency's decisive measures to correct and improve this historical underfunding or bring reprieve to millions of Kenyans seeking justice across the country. Many times I've asked myself why we have had to build prefabricated structures on our rooftop, on a building that is a national museum. Then I was told there was no money to do better than to just build those prefabs. I wondered why we built a toilet out there. We could have just built a building, but I was told the money that was there could only afford to build the prefabs and build an abolition outside. So we all have to keep walking outside or sometimes even to the hotel because the facilities are not sufficient. On accountability mechanisms, it is important to report to Kenyans that we have rolled out robust accountability performance measurement and complaints handling mechanism in line with the constitutional mandate given to the judiciary, whereby we are supposed to be independent, but at the same time accountable. It is notable that in November 2021, we invited the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to undertake a comprehensive judiciary systems audit. This systemic review of the policies, our procedures and practices of the judiciary will definitely identify the avenues and opportunities for unethical and corrupt practices so that the judiciary can work towards eliminating them. Regarding the worrying state of physical infrastructure, the judiciary has formulated a physical infrastructural Marshall Plan that targets to meet the contemporary justice demands by Kenyans. This, Your Excellency, includes a High Court building in counties without such courts, magistrate courts in constituencies without the courts, and 100 small claims courts. We also urgently need to put up a modern Supreme Court building to house the Supreme Court and the administrative headquarters of the judiciary. Your Excellency, we also need a Court of Appeal building to manage the expanded needs of the court and the Kenya Judiciary Academy. We thank Your Excellency for signaling that addressing these infrastructure concerns constitutes an integral part of your legacy. We will work with you to realize this dream that will revolutionize the delivery of justice in our country. In conclusion, allow me to thank you, Your Excellency, and all our distinguished guests who have graced this occasion once more for honoring us with your presence and for listening to us. I also thank the team that worked so diligently to prepare the Sonja Report 2021-2022, which was read by my very own indefatigable, energized Chief of Staff, Madam Rose Washuka. I now welcome Your Excellency and distinguished guests to watch a very short video highlighting the contents of the report, followed by a visual launch. I thank all of you and I embrace all of you and pray that God will continue to guide us and guide our country to prosperity. Thank you.
The video, please. May we have the video continue playing? Karibu.
(2021-2022) is a scorecard of the achievements and challenges collectively met by the stakeholders in the justice sector in the 2021-2022 financial year. The report, now in its 11th year of publication, fosters accountability and engagement with the public in line with constitutional imperatives of judicial authority and access to justice. In the year under review, a key highlight was the establishment of the Judiciary Fund, which is enabling the judiciary to fully implement its financial work plans. The social transformation through access to justice vision being pursued by the judiciary is expanding the doorways of justice through the small claims court, which have facilitated resolution of 9,315 cases worth 1.4 billion Kenya shillings during the period under review. Alternative forms of dispute resolution constitute a core component of initiatives introduced to address backlog. Court-annexed mediation and alternative justice systems provided pivotal avenues to resolving disputes, culminating in the first ever National Alternative Justice Conference. Court-annexed mediation facilitated settlement of 66 cases worth 554 million Kenya shillings. On 10th March 2022, to commemorate the International Day of Women Judges, the Chief Justice launched the first specialized sexual and gender-based violence court to address the needs of victims. The Judiciary decentralized the political parties' disputes tribunal, significantly reducing case completion and reinforcing internal political party dispute resolution mechanisms. The Judiciary is enhancing public trust through vigorous public engagements under a shared leadership model and also continues to leverage on technology. The Judiciary has implemented strategies to reduce case backlog through optimal staffing and leveraging technology for the administration of justice. This has resulted in improved service delivery and enhanced public trust. Moving towards a well-resourced judiciary for social transformation through access to justice. The State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice Annual Report 2021-2022 is a scorecard of the achievements and challenges collectively met by the stakeholders in the justice sector in the 2021-2022 financial year. The report, now in its 11th year of publication, fosters accountability and engagement with the public in line with constitutional imperatives of judicial authority and access to justice. In the year under review, a key highlight was the establishment of the Judiciary Fund, which is enabling the judiciary to fully implement its financial work plans. The social transformation through access to justice vision being pursued by the judiciary is expanding the doorways of justice through the small claims court, which have facilitated resolution of 9,315 cases worth 1.4 billion Kenya shillings during the period under review. Alternative forms of dispute resolution constitute a core component of initiatives introduced to address backlog. Court-annexed mediation and alternative justice systems provided pivotal avenues to resolving disputes, culminating in the first ever National Alternative Justice Conference. Court-annexed mediation facilitated settlement of 66 cases worth 554 million Kenya shillings. On 10th March 2022, to commemorate the International Day of Women Judges, the Chief Justice launched the first specialized sexual and gender-based violence court to address the needs of victims. The Judiciary decentralized the political parties' disputes tribunal, significantly reducing case completion and reinforcing internal political party dispute resolution mechanisms. The Judiciary is enhancing public trust through vigorous public engagements under a shared leadership model and also continues to leverage on technology. The Judiciary has implemented strategies to reduce case backlog through optimal staffing and leveraging technology for the administration of justice. This has resulted in improved service delivery and enhanced public trust. Moving towards a well-resourced judiciary for social transformation through access to justice.
We have it. If we can have the launch moment continue, kindly. Thank you, Your Excellency, sir. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the annual State of the Judiciary and the Administrative Justice Report for the year 2021-2022. Tuwapongeze kwa makofi, mabibi na mabwana. Let us appreciate. Thank you very much, as the report is now officially launched. Asante sana. Your Excellency, sir, I am advised that the Judicial Service Act requires that this report be presented, but first transmitted to the two houses of parliament, and that was done this morning. The act also requires that the report is presented to the people of Kenya. And with your permission, Your Excellency, I will request the Honorable Chief Justice to present the report here to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, on behalf of the people of Kenya. Karibu sana, welcome, Your Excellency. And the second set will be presented to the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly on behalf of the two houses. Speaker, if you could kindly join me here, kindly. The first copy to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya. Tumpigie makofi wakati anapokea from the Honorable Chief Justice. Speaker kidogo kwanza apate picha ya His Excellency and the Chief Justice handling the report. Your Excellency, I will request we remain there just a bit. The Speaker of the National Assembly, kindly a copy for the Speaker of the National Assembly. And on behalf of Parliament. And now, Asante, I request the Honorable Chief Justice to get a copy and get in between His Excellency the President and the Speaker and re-showcase to the people of Kenya the report just presented for that photo. Asante sana, tuwapigie makofi. Asante sana. I request Your Excellency and also the Speaker to retreat to our seats as the Chief Justice comes and guides the next part of the program.
Thank you very much. Please take your seats. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much, the Deputy President, the Vice President, and all of us for thus far we have gone. It is indeed now my honor and great privilege to invite the Honorable Deputy President, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, to come and address us, and thereafter invite His Excellency the President. Welcome, Vice President. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of Kenya's Defense Forces, the Honorable Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Martha Koome, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Honorable Attorney General, Speaker of the National Assembly, all our judicial officers, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Your Excellency, I'm also happy to be here. Are you alone? The Honorable Chief Justice said that she has not seen the Prime Cabinet Minister here before. Lady Chief Justice, I've been around your courtrooms for a while in different circumstances. And I say that there is God in heaven. That today, in totally different circumstances, I was having tea in the office of the Chief Justice and being taken around by the Deputy Chief Justice. Your Excellency, the independence of our judiciary cannot be overemphasized. As our leader, as our president, you have told all of us repeatedly that your administration has a commitment to strengthen and protect independent institutions, starting with the judiciary. And your policy direction to all of us, those of us who work under you, has been understood clearly and is being implemented. You have told us that you want the strengthening of independent institutions to form part of your legacy. And I want to assure our judicial officers seated here today, in the Ruto administration, none of us, not the president, not I, not those below us, will ever take a telephone and ask you to determine a matter either way or another. That will not happen. And if you come across anybody purporting to speak for the president, tell them to get you something in writing, and they will not. And if they insist and they persist look for me, then I'll sort it out. We must have an independent judiciary for our country because it is healthy. Your Excellency, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the people of Kenya to salute the judiciary for having stopped the BBI on its tracks. It was a terrible scheme against the people of Kenya, and all of us had given up. It was being taken down our throats. Everybody was being coerced. Everybody was being persecuted. Everybody was being bribed. But because we have an independent judiciary, all the way from the High Court to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court, the Kenyan state was preserved through prudent judicial discretion. On behalf of the people of Kenya, we want to say thank you to the judiciary. We don't know what we would have done because these people were determined. And therefore, we want to assure you of our continued support. And I want to confirm here today that the President, our boss, in his wisdom, has placed the function of coordinating independent offices and constitutional commissions in my office, not for the purpose of interfering with whatever you do, but for the very purpose of providing a facilitative and supportive role to your work by intervening where you need intervention in the Treasury and elsewhere in government, because the President wants the independent institutions to be facilitated and supported. And once we do that, I think we'll be able to have a good country that is managed by respect for the rule of law. For officers and us, under the President, for the avoidance of doubt. Because it's important, sometimes people make mistakes without knowing. I want to confirm to you that the President has directed that this country will be governed through strict compliance to the rule of law. And we want to advise officers that you shouldn't, under any circumstances, obey unlawful orders. And if you decide to obey them, you are on your own. There will be nobody to give you cover. This is a country that will be governed through the rule of law and strict compliance with the Constitution. And that is the policy direction from our President, and all of us are complying. Without further ado, it is now my privilege and honor to ask you to be upstanding as we invite the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, and let's take our seats. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Mr. Deputy President, the Honorable Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Martha Koome, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Attorney General, judicial officers, fellow leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's my first occasion to be in the judiciary in my new role. I've been here before. And I want to thank the Chief Justice for putting a passionate case for the judiciary. I have listened to all the speakers very carefully, especially the Chief Justice, on what kind of judiciary we must look forward to. You have made a very passionate case on matters, human resource, technology, resources, and when I stood to walk out, I went to check on the toilets and ablution blocks, the one you said, they have been set up outside the premise. And I confirm that indeed we need to do something about our judiciary, especially those of us who are in the other arms of government. It is true, the governor of Nairobi has been on phone with me and the Chief Justice on some of the teething problems that we can sort out just by opening free conversation and consultation between the various arms of government, and I want to thank the Chief Justice for being facilitative of the work of the executive. And in equal measure, we will be facilitative of the judiciary, because in the end, we want to serve the people of Kenya together. It is correct for the governor of Nairobi to work with us, and I have already given firm instructions on digitizing Nairobi and many of the big towns and making sure that we have digital cameras so that we can make it that much more easy for us to move traffic, and traffic cases that constitute a huge percentage of the backlog in our courts should be done in the space that provide for instant fines online so that we can decongest our courts. I agree with you, Governor, and we will work with you in making sure that that happens. I, however, am not too sure about the concept of sharing fines. With those who report, maybe you will need a small note from the Attorney General by way of a legal opinion. But it is with great honor to join you today as you launch the State of the Judiciary report. The judiciary is a vital component of the Kenyan state and an arm of government which serves as an independent and serves an independent role in the life of our nation, with a core mandate of dispensing justice to all, fostering adherence to the rule of law, and respect to human rights and continuous improvement of our good governance. The state of the judiciary, its capacity, performance, achievements, impact, and prospects matter a great deal to all of us. Our commitments, insofar as they relate to the judicial arm of government, are important. We all have a duty to observe the rule of law and to respect the authority of our judicial institution and its officers as a cardinal ingredient of our mandatory commitment in Article 3.1 of the Constitution. The state of the judiciary matters because the government's mandate to ensure stability, enforce law and order, resolve disputes, maintain security, guarantee safety, and promote well-being directly relies on the existence of an effective and efficient legal system. The workings of our judicial system demonstrates the extent to which individual welfare, economic efficiency, state capacity, and fundamental rights are intertwined. If you care about the economy or national security or constitutional rights or how individual citizens fare, you must care about the state of our judiciary. At the inauguration of our administration, I stated our commitment to to do our part in consolidating the role of the judiciary in our constitutional and democratic order, and in cementing Kenya's place as a country guided by democratic ideals and the rule of law. I noted the importance of implementing the Judiciary Fund to secure the financial autonomy of the judiciary, thus securing its operational independence. We also commit to enhance the budgetary allocation to the judiciary annually to support the bottom-up delivery of justice by increasing the number of small claims courts, establishing high court stations in the remaining 7 counties, setting up magistrates' courts in 123 sub-counties, and supporting the judiciary's digitization program, which was displayed to us this morning, and it is doing a great job. The intended objective of these interventions is the expeditious adjudication of cases and the expansion of access to justice. It is important to note that these interventions will be complemented by other measures across the entire spectrum of the judicial chain, including the enhancement of autonomy and professionalism of our police service. It is worth expounding on the broader context behind these interventions. Our administration was elected on a platform to pursue certain interlocking agendas. Primarily, the bottom-up approach is in pursuit of socio-economic transformation to achieve shared prosperity, where no one is left behind. To do this, we recognize the cardinal objective of citizen well-being at the front and center of our immediate, medium-term, and long-term policy programs and projects. This being the case, it is inevitable that our program of action aligns with the implementation of measures that are necessary to attain socioeconomic rights set out in Article 43 of the Constitution. We see the nation to be greater than the sum of its individual citizens. Its stature and might, therefore, consist of the aggregate happiness of the people which constitute it. We conceive this nation's prosperity to consist of the achievement of well-being citizen by citizen. Well-being considerably depends on the existence of meaningful opportunities for citizens to realize their aspirations. It is our manifest commitment to facilitate access to these opportunities by ordinary citizens on a rapidly increasing scale. We intend to begin with deliberate programs to create millions of jobs in agriculture, manufacturing, housing, and within the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises level. These are the 2 limbs of our bottom-up model of economic transformation: scaling up from the individual to the nation, and from the little hustles to the commanding heights of our economic system. The duty of government to its citizens is to open doors of opportunity on one hand and to protect freedoms and rights on the other. Opportunity lies in vibrant, diverse, competitive, and dynamic economy, whose efficiency is guaranteed by a credible system of enforcing contracts and securing property rights. However, whichever way one approaches the matter, a robust, independent, and effective judiciary, which inspires the confidence of all citizens, lies at the heart of national socio-economic transformation. This is why the state of the judiciary matters to everyone in Kenya. It is encouraging to note the extent of alignment between the executive and the judiciary as reflected in the State of the Judiciary report. I say this in full awareness of the dictates of separation of powers and the unique constitutional autonomy of the judiciary in the triangular relationship among the traditional arms of government. Nevertheless, from our distinct and separate domains, we can use the Constitution as our compass to navigate our way through our respective functions to attain the highest standards of living for all Kenyans. This is precisely what is captured in the Kenya Kwanza plan, and that is the bottom-up transformation agenda on one hand, and the strategic vision of the judiciary on the other, and that is social transformation through access to justice. Both documents explicitly set out the realization of the promise of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. They championed the inclusion of the traditionally excluded and historically marginalized sectors of our society. Each document also prioritizes the millions at the bottom of the socioeconomic and political pyramid as the foundation of sustainable transformation. Furthermore, we are united in the knowledge that an accessible, efficient, and impartial judicial system facilitates shared economic development that meaningfully includes the needy, most vulnerable, and marginalized segments of our society. We also recognize that the efficiency of the judicial system in the resolution of commercial disputes and securing property rights is key to making Kenya a destination of choice for investors. The government, therefore, will support the judiciary to attain efficiency in its operations so that it can effectively contribute to the attraction and retention of foreign and domestic investments. The judiciary's stated aim to tackle systemic formal as well as informal barriers to access to justice resonates quite strongly with our administration's objective to provide access to public platforms and processes for previously excluded or underserved groups. I am satisfied that this model of delivering justice from the bottom up underpins citizen well-being and complements it with the opportunities for self-actualization created by stronger economic performance and higher investment confidence. The socio-economic transformation through access to justice is a program that is responsive to the gaps in the judicial system, ensuring that possibilities become a reality by virtue of decisive measures to develop a high-quality, accessible, efficient, expeditious, and cost-effective judiciary. Such a people-centered approach aligns admirably with our broader transformation agenda. I have noted from the State of the Judiciary report that the judiciary has made progress in delivering value for taxpayers' investments in establishing critical infrastructure and achieving significant improvement in resolving disputes. For example, the small claims courts cohort of the judicature, now comprising 11 courts, disposed of 9,315 cases, unlocking 1.4 billion that had been held up in disputes. The first specialized sexual and gender-based violence court was inaugurated in Shanzu in Mombasa, and the political parties disputes tribunal was decentralized to 7 regions. It is highly commendable that apart from setting up premises for High Court, Land and Environment Court, and Magistrates Courts across the country, the judiciary has also complemented these developments with ICT capabilities. Various judicial procedures have been simplified and disseminated to standardize service delivery. The case tracking system has gone a long way in reducing the burden of manual performance of various important judicial tasks. Collaboration with technology companies, particularly Google Africa, has enhanced internet connectivity to support virtual court proceedings across the country. From the slow, manual, cumbersome, and vulnerable judiciary of recent years, we are now witnessing the rapid evolution of a judicial system that is smart, connected, digitized, automated, and efficient. Steadily, the judiciary is getting ready for the challenges that lie ahead and shaping up as a fit-for-purpose vehicle for delivery of justice. It is no surprise, then, that the number of cases filed or pending as compared to those concluded on an annual basis provide an encouraging report. The judiciary now has better capacity to measure its own performance and capture all aspects of service delivery in accurate statistics. Cases are being concluded faster, and the number of matters stayed in the courts is declining. The decline in overall backlog rate, despite the rise in numbers of new cases, points to enhanced efficiency. This is also encouraging. A direct effect of this performance enhancement is that judicial officers have been liberated from the tedious, inefficient, and manual labor, freeing them to perform their core function, and that is the production of robust jurisprudence that breathes life into our constitutional and legal dispensation. The State of the Judiciary report also includes numerous instances of jurisprudence that involve the invalidation of executive measures. All I can say is that we will strive to live up to our commitment to work within the Constitution and avoid running afoul with our courts. As I give this assurance, I am alive to the fact that the judiciary has mechanisms to achieve accountability for the exercise of judicial power and for public resources entrusted to it. The outputs of the judicial ombudsman are tremendously enlightening. Particularly noteworthy is that beyond resolving complaints, the mechanisms investigates root causes to minimize recurrence. And I want to encourage Madam Chief Justice and the judicial system to improve on the judicial ombudsman's performance. The public and the other arms of government expect the judiciary to perform its duty with integrity. And it's my expectation, because judicial power and independence comes with huge responsibility. And huge responsibility comes with a good measure of accountability. And that is why, to be able to exercise judicial power and independence effectively, responsibility and accountability must come with it. And I want to work with the judiciary, to support the judiciary, so that we can have an accountable and responsive judicial system. Integrity assurance and corruption prevention are essential pillars of remedial and corrective action. Likewise, the judiciary's performance management enhances staff accountability and guarantees service delivery to a high professional standard with assurance of continued improvement. Enforcement of Judicial Service Commission's Code of Conduct also forms part of the performance management and integrity assurance framework. And together, they provide the basis for internal audits that are used to measure and improve performance in the judiciary. I have noted all these impressive achievements for two principal reasons. First, the high standard and consistent improvement was achieved in spite of the judiciary's staff establishment falling far below its requirement. Currently, the judiciary has 6,182 employees. To operate optimally, the report states that the judiciary requires 9,417 employees, 348 judges, 1,200 judicial officers, and 650 law clerks and legal researchers, and 7,219 judicial staff. Secondly, the impressive performance was achieved on a budgetary allocation which stood at 0.6% of the national budget. Without a doubt, the low budgetary allocation has affected critical projects and activities. It is with this in mind that I gave the undertaking, and which I repeat, to enhance annual allocation to the judiciary for the next 5 years in an effort to mitigate the opportunity cost of accrued shortfalls. And since we have the other arms of government represented here, we have committed to increase the budgetary allocation to the judiciary by 3 billion shillings every year to make sure that we build the necessary infrastructure, hire the requisite numbers of staff, and build ICT capabilities to enable our judiciary deliver on its mandate. I congratulate the Chief Justice and the entire judicial service for doing a good job against serious constraints. We do not take for granted your admirable effort to raise the standard of output amid such tremendous challenges. I believe that I have demonstrated sufficient commitment to provide confidence that we in the executive shall do our part to support the judiciary in delivery of its mandate. I applaud the judiciary's overall performance and its consistency in retaining public trust. We acknowledge that there are gaps, of course, but we also recognize that there is demonstrable opportunity, capacity, and commitment to bridge them to the satisfaction of all citizens. I pledge our support to your vision of social transformation through access to justice because it is our duty to do so, because we are aligned in our transformational agenda, and because we share a citizen-centric, bottom-up delivery model focused on individual and collective well-being of all the citizens of Kenya. For the avoidance of doubt, I reiterate my commitment and that of the government of Kenya to live up to our pledge to the people of Kenya that we intend to empower the judiciary and the criminal justice system as required by the Constitution, as well as respect the decisions and orders of the courts as they relate to the executive. Expect no more or no less. And even as we commit to the independence of the judiciary and to support the judiciary, give it financial independence, we do the same for all the other independent institutions. I did commit that we will do the same for our police service, because we believe that a professional police service will do the job. I have already established an independent budget and appointed an independent accounting officer for the police service so that they can discharge their mandate without reference to any other office or any other institution, as is required of us by law. I am a great believer, and I will work with all the arms of government in building our institutions and respecting those institutions. We will build the judiciary and respect the judiciary. We will build all the other institutions, including the police and other institutions, and support them and respect them. We cannot, at the same time, be bringing down our institutions and expecting them to work for us. We must collectively, as a country, work towards building all the institutions set up by the Constitution as a guarantee for the country being built on the solid foundation of the rule of law and respect for the Constitution. Any other attempt to build this nation on the basis of individuals and personalities will lead to monumental failure. As we build, and I want to commit that we will support our security agencies to take up their mandate and protect and safeguard the sovereignty and the security of our country. And we will work with them to eliminate groups and sections that work against the Constitution and the law. I am very clear in my mind that we do not need the advice from the Scotland Yard to be able to remove and disband the murderous units in our police force. We didn't need any advice from nowhere. We just needed to respect our Constitution and do the right thing. I am very clear in my mind that supporting a professional police force will guarantee the lives of every Kenyan and the security of our property, and we will get rid of the menace of extrajudicial killings. We certainly don't need the support of institutions built by others. We can build our own institutions. Even those other institutions that we celebrate, be they the Scotland Yard or the FBI, they were built by countries who respect the rule of law and who believe in institutions. We should believe in ours. We should support our police force. We should support the Independent Police Oversight Authority. We should build our institutions. They will guarantee our security and they will guarantee our democracy. And that is what I believe in. Let me also say, for the record, because I hear our friends and brothers from the opposition trying to propose to us that we should denigrate our own institutions and work with the institutions of others, that we are much more sure of building our own institutions. And secondly, let me also say, for the avoidance of doubt, that as we commit additional resources and financial independence of all our independent institutions, the judiciary, the police, and all the other institutions, we must all work collectively towards making sure that we have savings and we collect revenues that will support our development. I want to ask the judiciary to work with us and not to provide any safe haven for the people running away from paying tax. They should not find refuge in the judiciary. They should not find refuge in judicial orders. we want every citizen to carry their portion of the burden of running the affairs of our country. That is the request I am making to the judiciary, as I do to the legislature, that we must all work towards sealing the loopholes of pilferage and leakage in our revenue collection. I think it is important for us to note that as a percentage of GDP, we are collecting 14% of our GDP. Our neighbors are collecting 25% of our GDP. So we are lagging behind. And that is why we have shortage of resources to run our development program. Our friends in the opposition are telling us that we should continue to borrow and we should not raise our savings. I want to say, for the avoidance of doubt and on record, that already we have had conversations with the Central Organization of Trade Unions. We have consultations with the Federation of Kenya Employers, and we have all agreed, except the people in the opposition, that it is necessary to increase our contributions on savings from 200 shillings to 6% of our salaries. Our brothers and sisters in the opposition should wake up to this reality and smell the coffee. Kenyans are moving on. We want to raise our savings because at the moment we are between 10 and 12% of GDP in terms of savings. We can scale that up to between 30 and 40% of our GDP. That is the surest foundation of running our development program, not merely thinking that you can go on a borrowing spree. In any case, the money you go to borrow is the savings of others, and you have to pay through the nose if you have to borrow. So we have, everybody's job has been cut out, and we will continue to have this conversation because we are a democratic nation. Finally, and once again, I congratulate the judiciary on the commendable progress made in delivering your solemn constitutional mandate, and wish all of you God's blessings as you proceed on the journey to transformational success. Thank you, and may God bless you. Asanteni sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we all be upstanding for the national anthem and the lowering of the mace. National anthem. Still upstanding for the lowering of the mace. Thank you. We are all welcome for lunch. Asante.